Good afternoon. This is your girl Annette from DALS Credit Solutions. Today is Tuesday, August the 2nd at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Welcome in, welcome in. We are going to do the second series today from how to understand your personal credit as a business owner. So, the first week we went over some things, which we do a small recap as we get into it. Please, everybody, come in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If this is your first time joining, please place in the comments where you are tuning in from. I am using the platform StreamYard. So please allow StreamYard to notate your name so I will know where you are tuning in from and when you have a comment or a question. This week, we are going to look at the second series. Please be sure to have your pen and piece of paper. Make sure you like, click, and share. As everybody is gathering it, just jot in the back of your mind what are some short-term goals when it comes to your credit. It's very important that you do this because if you do unrealistic goals, you will become very distracted and want to give up. So if you do short-term goals and understanding the process of the numbers and how your credit report and how to look at your report, you will see more of uh, a victorious outcome when it comes to your credit. And I educate on the failures of credit for the simple fact these are the things I've done in order to make sure you guys don't make the same mistakes. So, I looked at how to do your credit on a numerical factor. I don't use software. I'm very proud of that. We use credit and consumer laws to ensure that you are have it within your rights to understand what is required on the credit report according to the Federal Credit Reporting Act, according to the credit and consumer laws, banking laws of the Federal Trade Commission and the federal government. So it is important. Please tune in, tune in. I am very excited today because one, I've been listening to my favorite album of the year. Sorry, I am a Beehive, Beyonce. I am going to be playing Heated from her Renaissance album. I love all of her songs. Beyond the Queen Bee, she came back showing off. And as we are getting in, please, please, please like, click, and share. So I will get started in a few minutes. I don't own the rights to this music. Shout out to the Queen Bee. She did her thing. So I will be playing this in the background. And let's get in here and get into it. Hey. Hey. Stretch marks on my tits, drinking my water, minding my biz. Monday I'm overrated, Tuesday on my dick. Flip flop, flippy flip flopping ass bitch. Fan me off, brush my wrist, go fan me off, I'm hot, hot, hot like stolen Chanel. Lock me up in jail. Cuss me please, cause this ain't fair. Cheeked in my pearls like Coco Chanel. Johnny made my dress that cheap spandex, she looks a mess. Fan me off, I'm hot, hot, hot like stolen Chanel. Lock me up in jail. Fingertips go tap, 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 tap on my MPC, making this go tap. Johnny made my dress that cheap spandex, she looks a mess. The Queen is back. She has come back with a vintage. Again, I don't own the rights to this music, but she is. I've been super hyped since she came out. I've been waiting for the Renaissance album for a very long time. I knew she's coming back with something, but she's here, she's out, she's ready. She's going to probably go on tour. I'm ready. Let's get into it. Credit Tip Tuesday, August 2nd, 2022, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't let your credit break your soul. Life happens, but love is continuous. Let's go. I'm going to put the slides up, and let's get it together. She said she just quit her job. Lord Jesus, I tell you, she's the Queen is a trip, boy. I love her to death, boy. So again, we are going to get into the uh, second part of how to understand your business, your personal credit as a business owner. Again, everybody's coming in, like, click, and share. And I'll do a recap of the first series. Again, in order to get the slides, you must watch both parts and put your email inside the comments so you can get the slides. The slides are always available to people that want to that look over it. I create these slides for you guys so y'all can have them as a reference point. Last week we went over how to look at your business, look at your personal credit, what is on your personal credit, the major credit bureaus, how one should, set a goal, set small goals. I recommend 30, 60, 90-day goals. It never takes 30, 60, 90 days to clean up your credit. Please do not think that. I'm saying set goals so you can look at the progress you're making so you can be consistent and stay on top of it. Set long goals as well to meet the end goal. The reason I say that is the short-term goals is the reason you will appreciate the process of the outcome. If you don't set short-term goals, you will just be like, oh, this is taking too long. You'll become discouraged and you don't want this. So let us get into it. Second series, we're going to talk about disputing. This is so important that you listen to this because everybody has their ways of disputing. I don't discredit anyone. I know what works well with my clients. We look at credit from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the Federal Trade Commission, consumer laws, banking laws. And if people want these laws, again, put your email in the comments and I can email you these laws. These are laws that protects the consumers that, that will allow you to understand your rights. I am not a credit attorney. However, I am pending CFCM, which is a certified federal contract manager that studies procurement federal law. However, I also can study credit law as well because that is my niche. And I'm also pending certified contract manager certification as well. And what this is a contract between you, the credit bureaus, myself, and when you see things illegal, we can look at them on a federal level to look at them to make sure that they are reporting according to the laws that protects you as the consumer. Excuse me. In my slides, I do have a disclaimer that says all information is for the educational purposes only to grow and increase awareness. DALS Credit Solutions, DALS Credit Solutions will not engage in illegal activity, which is not aligned with the FCRA, which is the Federal Credit Reporting Act, and any other federal regulators regarding credit laws. DALS Credit Solutions will not support instructions if you are in the process of removing items on a credit report associated with you by law. It is illegal to remove items on the credit report utilized during the account opening. We do not participate in purchasing trade lines from unknown sources, and DALS Credit Solutions will not support fake social security numbers, and we do not promise to remove items again that is yours. So as we continue, if you do not agree with that, please do not request the slides because I will not send that to you, because it is a known fact that people try to dispute things that belong to them, and we just cannot participate in that. So as I begin the second series, a lot of times you will always hear pull the reports from www.freecreditreport.com. If there's an error on your credit report, you must initiate the dispute. However, read the clause. The clause says that the creditors will have an additional 15 days to respond if it's an error on the reports. Remember, credit bureaus are a source where information is stored, meaning the way I'm going to tell you to dispute is basically goes past the credit bureaus, because they're nothing but a library to store your information that purchases from different areas to see if this is your information or not. If you dispute through the credit bureaus, you would then see that they send off a code from the eOscar system. This is deeper levels of credit. And they say, well, okay, is this, for example, I use myself, if this is Lynette Stevenson account, they'll come back and say verify, unverified, removed, or whatever the case may be. When you dispute like this, you're taking a process longer. Now, during the pandemic, as of 2020, January 30 to be exact, creditors have 60 days to respond to your reports if there is an error. So if you use www.freecreditreport.com, you are now adding 15 additional days to it, which make it 75. So please be mindful. I recommend you to go to MyFICO. This is a paid source. DALS Credit Solutions does not profit from MyFICO at all. This is something that makes you aware on what's your credit report in real time. They still do use Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. If you want a larger report on everything, if you have police reports, warrants, parking tickets, speeding tickets, evictions, school loans, whatever the case may be, go to LexisNexis and pull your report. It's roughly like 150 pages, depends on how long you have been establishing credit, but be mindful that you can compare what's on your credit. As I stated last week, that when you start to begin your process, look at all of your credit reports, put them in front of you, get a piece of paper or a notepad and a pencil, and put what is not the same from each credit report. So you got TransUnion, Equifax, Experian, Innovis, check systems, all these reporting agencies. Get all of your reports. Sit down on a Saturday, put the YouTube on for the kids, grandkids, whatever, and take a piece of paper, again, a notepad up, and write, okay, Capital One. Is it the same on TransUnion? Yes. Different on Equifax? Yes. What is the difference? Difference on Experian? What's the difference? LexisNexis is not reporting. All these factors will give you an outlook on how you are viewed as credit worthiness. If you see that there are errors, or look at it and say, if I want to align a credit, will I lend to me? This allows you to see in real time to say, okay, I need to do better, or what can I do to improve, or how can I reach my goal? So you want to make sure that you have this information in front of you. Get a pad and piece of paper, and get a pad and a pencil, and write down TransUnion slash Equifax slash Experience slash Innovis slash LexisNexis slash check system slash, and look at it and say, okay, where are my errors? Okay, step one. And make sure you use highlighters. I recommend highlighters. I am a highlighter queen. I think I have every highlighted color in America, or wherever it was manufactured at. It's very important. And write these things down. Also, get you a planner so you can write down, when did I start my disputing process? 1 second. Excuse me. Got my water here. So once you have all of your reports, look at everything on the report. Start with your names, your addresses, birth dates, social security numbers. Make sure they are all correct. Please, it's very important. Do not do no disputing until you do this step. If you do not do this step, you're going to find yourself on a hamster wheel. Trust me, I've done this, and it would take you a whole lot of time. When you have your reports, again, when you do the initial step, as I stated, pad, pencil, all credit reports. Sit down on a Saturday. This will not take you an hour. This will not take you 2 hours. It might take you 3 hours. It might take you 4. But now you have a visual on what is on your credit report. And then after you have all the findings, you say, will I loan myself something? The answer is yes or no, because it allows you to look at it on a subconscious level and the direct visual to say, okay, I know where I need to improve that. Look at your names, date of birth, social security, addresses first. Please, please do this step first. Then as you're looking at this step, and you have all that completed, now let's look at the accounts. You want to look at the positive accounts first or the negative accounts first? I say look at the negatives first, because it will give you a sense of what's wrong. And then you look at the positive, because there are some positive reported on your account. Do not beat yourself up if you have bad credit. Don't beat yourself up if you weren't able to pay something at a time that it needed to be paid. Everybody go through things in life. I don't care if you're making $1 to millions of dollars, thousands of dollars. People have problems. We are in inflation. I don't care if people say we are not. We are. Trust me, I'm very resourceful. We are in an inflation that we need to factor on what can or we cannot do. Do not beat yourself up because you weren't able to do so. Now, if you went out and you bought things that you couldn't that you could have paid your bills with, then just give yourself that wake up call and say, okay, I looked at my report, I have a visual, I know what I need to do, I'm going to do better. Um, Next, look at all the things that are bad on the report. Look at the area where it's reporting at. If it's a collection, if it's something good or bad, right where it falls at in the credit on the credit report, because this is very important. Because in the series one, I showed you how to use your end goal number, meaning what is the goal credit score you want to get to your current score. I did use the number 650, which is a standard score for many people in the US, and I subtracted it by the end goal, which was 800, and left me with 150. The reason I say when you write these items down and put them where they are located on the credit report, if they're in collections, if they're in a charge off, if they're in good standings, it is imperative because the numbers relate to where they are noted on the report. Again, credit numbers and the regulating of credit comes from the entire report, not just the numbers. So this is very critical. As I stated earlier, you collect reports, view the data, review, contact, and now we're going to begin a dispute process. Again, as everybody is tuning in, my name is Lynette Stevenson, founder of DALS Credit Solutions. If this is your first time watching, please come in and put in the comments where you are tuning in from. I am using the platform StreamYard in order to get this live to you. We are going over the second series on how to read your credit report. And it's very important. If you are watching a replay, please put in the comments hashtag Credit Tip Tuesday replay. In order for you to get the slides, you must watch part 1 and part 2. Is very important because the slides will allow you to reference what I'm saying to you to assist you in this matter. So, as we are talking about disputing, and I'm a fan of saying, I'm not a fan, I'm firm, of saying never dispute with the credit bureaus. I'm not against anybody that does this. It's not to discredit no one, any other credit company, anything. Excuse me. It's nothing that going against any credit company, anything. Let me just put it right here so I'm keeping it down. It's to let you know that the credit bureaus is a storehouse. When I first started doing my credit, I sent certified letters to the credit bureaus. I spent more money sending certified letters to the credit bureaus, and there's no one to sign for it. They stamp it. No one to validate that they received it. Please, please, please do not send your letters to the credit bureaus. It makes no difference, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because they use an e-Oscar system. Right? If the e-Oscar system comes back that it's either yours, validated, not validated, update, whatever the case may be, there's other credit reporting agencies that will report it. So, for instance, they have subprimes, and I didn't mention this, they have subprime reporting agencies, and I will get the names for you because I don't know them offhand. What it does is it will take it away from Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, and it can show on the subprime reports. Because if you don't have anything below a 750, is not really visible on the credit reports. And we will get into that in a later series. When I say don't dispute doing the credit at the credit bureaus because they use an e-Oscar system. And the e-Oscar system is a 3-digit code they send to validate if it is. However, make sure before you dispute, call the creditors. I said this in part one, and I'm going to reiterate this in part two. Call your creditors. You write down who you spoke with, name and time, the department, and what was the outcome. Repeat. Call the creditors. Document who you spoken to, name, time, and the department. When you speak to creditors, you want to ask them, if this is your debt, and you know it's your debt, ask them, if I satisfy this debt if I satisfy it, meaning if I pay it off, will this come off my credit report? If they say yes, and you are able to pay, you write this down, you write the payment down, get the confirmation code, keep it in your notes. Because when you dispute to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, even though you paid it, you're going to send a dispute to them to let them know this was the outcome. This protects you because they could say, well, we never told her that. So if you let them know, okay, I satisfied this debt, and I'm going to send a dispute to let them know, based on this call, this date, at this time, I satisfied this debt in its entirety, so I didn't have no risk on my end. I satisfied the debt, means I paid it all, and I just wanted to let you know, regulators, that we agree if this is paid in full, the account will be removed from my credit report in its entirety. This is what you do. If it's not yours or you don't agree to it, okay, I'll give you an example, like a medical bill. I have a client that says, okay, I went to the doctors, I had insurance, they told me that I was covered. Now they're telling me that I have a copay. Give you a very deep example. If you go get a procedure, okay, for instance, tooth pulling, get your tooth pulled, you might need some type of surgery, C-section, have a baby, whatever the case may be. And they use an outside source, like for anesthesia or anything, and it's not related to your plan, and they did not make you aware. And the only thing they said was, you are covered, your insurance covers it, and then they later try to send you a bill. You dispute that medical bill through JACO, and I will put that in the comments as well. It's very important that you do this for the simple fact you let them know that, hey, I was approved for this 100%. I knew nothing about any additional sources that they use on the outside that did not comply with my medical insurance. You can dispute that. When you do this and you creating a letter or write into the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, please do not get a letter off the internet. I'm pausing so I can pray not to say nothing out of content. Do not get a letter from the internet. The credit bureaus put those letters out there. If it's on Google, it's too late. I heard this on Clubhouse. I don't remember the gentleman's name, but I will give him credit for saying that. If it's on Google, it is too late. Do not get your dispute letters off the credit bureaus. Do not, and I repeat, do not buy no DIY reports or letters. If you had a situation that prohibit you from to be able to comply with that debt at that time, why put in a DIY letter with a whole lot of laws and a whole lot of UC 1526-302? That law is about 50 pages long. And if you get a clip of it and put it in a letter, they already know you don't know what you're talking about. You understand? So you have to understand, when you write your letters, you write it personable to you. If you want to consult with me on what laws that need to be put in there in order for you to do that, please schedule a consultation. If you watching this live and you have a question and you want to read me an example of your letter and you don't have the money for the consultation, send me an inbox. I will call you. You'll read me the letter and make it. You have 10 minutes. Read me the letter, and then I'll say, okay, you should put this based off of this. Probably take more than 10 minutes because I can talk somebody's ears off. Anybody that know me, you probably get a whole credit game for free, but it is what it is. The goal is for me to sow into people and not sell it. So make sure you understand the dynamics of when you buy these DIYs or you see people DIYs or people say, do you have a template? It makes no sense because if you were sick, out of work, got fired, or you had, I know I have a client that caught cancer or anything, and thank you, Jesus, that she beat it. Do not, and I mean do not, buy a DIY letter because if you fix it fast, what did you learn? What did you learn? If you think credit is fast, what did you learn? The goal when you are disputing is to allow your subconscious become in the frontal area of your brain to say, this is something I never want to experience again. So I need to learn the lessons while I'm in the ashes. When you are going through this process, and it takes time, and I'm talking about time, it took me 5 years. And I'm very proud to say 5 years. Did I fluctuate up and down so damn much? I almost had a heart attack. Yes, I fluctuated. I remember I was a 700. I went back down to a 599 because I paid off something. But in those instances, I didn't care because I didn't want no more debt. Should I have done it that way? No. However, I did. This is not a quick fix scheme. You use your software, put it through the system scheme. I'm going to get it done fast so I don't have to deal with this again scheme. If you don't understand the power of the subconscious on how you need to rehabilitate yourself on how you look at money, your finances, and how you would make breakthrough progress, setting small goals to get to the end goal, you will be reviewing and restoring your credit for the rest of your entire life. I can promise you that. Bankruptcy won't fix it unless you had a very severe case. You have to fix it. You have to look at yourself and say, okay, I didn't realize I had this. Okay, I need X, Y, and Z. It is very important. Be honest with yourself because if the debt belongs to you, you owe it. Pay it. There is no magician, no software that says, oh, I can get this removed. You cannot. Because if you don't learn the lesson while you're in the ashes, you will repeat this step again. Again, I went over the steps before disputing. Many people about sending information to the bureaus. I don't do that. Federal entities regulate the credit bureaus to ensure your information is reported accurately. Here are some steps to follow, and I will repeat them again. The chain of command is the creditor. Call the original creditor. If they sold it to the collection agency, call the collection agency. Document again the time who you spoke with while reviewing the information on the credit reports to ensure the information given from the creditor is accurate. If it doesn't match, you don't have to argue with no one. Write down exactly what they said and make sure that you let them know all calls are recorded for quality and training purposes, like they're going to tell you. You have the right to look at things and record things. And they say all calls are recorded for quality and training purposes. Ask them, for my rights, is it okay if I record this conversation? More than likely, they're going to say yes because they're recording you. So please make sure that you document these things because it's very vital. Again, this information that you are retrieving now and making yourself aware, the responses are later during the pandemic. Document each person you have spoken to and create a notation of this call because it is critical. If you are just tuning in, make sure you like, click, and share. My name is Lynette Stevenson. I am the founder of DALS Credit Solutions. We are going live using the platform StreamYard. It is very important. If you have a comment, please place them in the comments. In order for you to retrieve the slides, you must watch part 1 and part 2 of how to understand your personal credit as a business owner. You don't have to have a business, but just also look at your credit overall. In this section, I talked about, I gave you an example on a bank. So say you had your bank closed, or they charged you charged offs, or you had overdraft fees, or because a banking score has a score as well. And this is also regulated in your credit score. There are many factors when it comes to your score overall. The notation, your activity, how you spend, how you move, how you look at things, what are your habits, what are your peaks of interest. This is all regulated in your credit score. This is why FICO score 10T is very vital when it comes to people that have compromised credit and how you do things. The example I put in here is saying say if we had a bank, and the bank said you had a charge back or a charge off or closing an account, who do you dispute with? The credit bureaus, again, is a storehouse that purchases information that uses artificial intelligence for trending. See who regulates the bank. So, for instance, I'll give you an example. I had a client that had issues with Pennsylvania State Employees Credit Union. I am going to say this because I can. Won't tell you the client, but I will tell you the bank, because people that are normally watching is in the Pennsylvania area. Now, PSECU is a very good bank, and I love PSECU. However, it was an issue when an account went into the negative, which caused issues with the actual bank. Who regulates Pennsylvania State Employees Credit Union is the members. So they're not federally regulated. They are regulated by the Pennsylvania Department of Banking. So it's very important that you know if your bank is a credit union. If it's not federally regulated, they may be regulated by its shareholders and or its members, and the state regulators, oversee them. Another example I have, a client had a car note with this one bank, and the bank will freeze the account until the car payment was made. Very illegal. I disputed this process, and they never had a problem again, because these are rights according to consumer laws and banking laws, how they operate and how they should operate to consumers. So make sure you know, if you send a bank issue to the credit bureaus, you want to be on a hamster wheel. If you send it to the people that regulate this bank, then you're going to get some answers. While you are in a disputing process, purchase a planner. Write down everything. I live and breathe planners. Am I actively writing a planner every day? No, I need to get back into that. However, I write down what I need to do every day. It's very important. Be honest with your spending. I'm telling you, the more you make, the worse it is. I'll be very honest with you. Become aware of your spending and contact your creditors regarding any debt. So while you're doing this, if you see your score not regulated because you are in a dispute process, the dispute, once it concludes, then your score will regulate. Because they can't regulate a score if you are disputing something that's not accurate. Because again, everything on the credit report needs to be accounted for in order to display a score. Remember the factors that are included in your credit scoring process. The numbers, the 5 pillars, which you always hear from, people that do credit. They don't tell you your behavior spending is involved. That's why FICO 10T means the trend of data on how you deal with money, your activities overall. The notations on the report, the resilient factor, the resilient score, which my FICO scores, and that's between 0 being the least of a risk to 100 being a severe risk. That score is also calculated in your overall score. Also, if you are disputing, also if you not disputing, if you have notations of a charge off, paid less than what's owed, all these factors are negative reporting that will decline your score. So if you see these things on your credit report and you're like, I paid this off and my score dropped, or I got this on my credit report, but I paid it, but it's still saying that I paid less than what's owed. That's why I tell people never settle a debt, satisfy it. Because the goal is to, if you pay for dinner once, your credit will pay for your dinner for life. So do not settle any debt. Do not. If you have a debt and it's yours and you're able to pay it off when you call, make sure you write down everything. Make sure you dispute it with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Make sure you understand who the regulators are. And the next series I think I'm going to do, and I think is very vital, examples on items on the credit reports and who you um, send a dispute process, go through the dispute process with. I think that would be a good idea, and it would give you guys some feedback on how to honestly dispute your credit reports if there are any disputes. I know I've done credit tip Tuesdays in the past on how to pay your credit cards, how to look at your credit cards, how to spend your credit cards. Please be mindful that is on a replay. I will do that series again. If so, please place in the comments if you'd like to see that again. To conclude, the goal is not to finish the race, it's the reason you began. Having the strength to begin this process is a brave one. Don't allow compromised credit permits from starting a business, fund it in all possible opportunities. Be a difference within your home, improving credit decreases child diversity, pipelines the prison, and increase positive communications. Continue to be brave on this journey because it's rough. I'll see you on the other side. Again, it took me 5 years to get where I'm at. Again, it's not easy. It's very tiresome. It's exhausting. It's a headache. It makes you want to give up. It makes you want to just not want to do it and be like, the hell with it. I'll just deal with it. I'm telling you, the race is ugly while you're in it. You'll appreciate it when you finish. It's anything you set yourself up to do in life that is beneficial for yourself and your family. Financial literacy, improved communications in the home, decreased child diversity as well. If you grew up in an era that people didn't understand credit, it affects yourself, it affects your children, and it affects you overall. Don't allow your past to stop you from being great in your present. I didn't come with a silver spoon. Hell, I still don't think I have a silver spoon, even though a lot of people think I do. I don't think I am because I'm still amongst my people. I just believe in going as far as I can and as hard as I can because the doubters and overall, I beat myself up a lot, say, you can't do this, but you can. Self pace, self love, and self growth is very important when it comes to this process. This is very vital to your life. The world is changing. We are going into digital currency. I can promise you, if you don't have your credit together, you will suffer. We have blacks overall. They're saying we're going to have um, a negative annual salary by 2026, 25, excuse me. That's literally tomorrow. And I know you're saying, okay, it's August 2022. It's August already, for crying out loud. And it was just May the other day. So please be mindful of this. Again, my name is Lynette T. Stevenson. I am the founder of DLS Credit Solutions. If you have any questions, please place them in the comments. We are tuning in from StreamYard. If this is your first time watching, place in the comments where you're tuning in from. If you're watching the replay, please place hashtag Credit to Tuesday replay. I love you all. I appreciate you all. Make sure you are looking at your credit at least once a week. At least make sure you do the processes that I told you on. Get all your reports together and write them down. And wherever the errors are at, make sure you write them down using a pencil. This is not going to take you an hour. This is not going to take you 2 hours. It might take you 3 hours. It might take you 2 hours. It might take you 4 hours. I'd rather spend 4 hours, 40 hours, or 400 hours and restoring myself financially and become credit worthy than having to go through this process again because I want to do it fast and I want to send off letters. And I can promise you it took me 5 years to get where I'm at. And I'm still not the best at when it comes to managing and dealing with large amounts of money. The more you make, the worse it gets. So I am very proud to say that. That's why I have a lot of financial wealth managers and counselors and things like that, because I'd be ready to blow a bag daily, but I do not do that. Please be mindful to love yourself, love yourself, love yourself, love yourself. Don't be afraid. Don't be fearful. Look it in the eye and say, that is not who I am, because guess what? I know what God created me to be, and that's to be on top of things, prosperous, and lead by Him. I love you. I will see you next Tuesday, and I will be looking forward to the comments. Please let me know what you would like to see. I will be posting this on all platforms, and I will see you soon.